Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Did you ever think about the guy that invented the umbrella? That he was going to call it the Brella, but he hesitated. Brella, there you go. Morning, Kate Smith. God bless America. Here we go on a Monday. Holy moly, call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Let's start things off right. And a good morning to you and yours, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for your vehicles. Don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have a Pledge of Allegiance. Patriot, good morning.
Well, good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it, my dear friend. Thank you very much. And right now we're going to gather up and gallop over to the weather forecast. And the weather brought to you by some really, really good people to know that can help you with all the best tools and equipment you need. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. I'm guaranteeing you they've got all the lawn equipment you need, all the rototillers, all the mowers. They've got all the equipment you need to finish any job. And if you're not sure what you need, call them at 678-3122. K&R Rental. And right now, here's the lovely Gina with the weather.
Sunshine and warming up as we get closer to the end of the month. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies for today. A slight breeze out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Possible gusts as high as 22. We are expecting a high of 77 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 49 tomorrow. Another nice one. Mostly sunny skies with a high of 83. Looks like more clouds will be moving into the valley for tomorrow night with a low of 52. Mostly sunny and 83 for Wednesday and for Thursday. Pretty much the same. Mostly sunny skies and a high of 79. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you very much. And brought to you by Roger and the crew. They get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to better serve you at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Don't forget the best of tools and equipment for you. Call them, 678-3122. Holy cow, have we got a great program this morning. I'm going to give you a rundown of some of the people that are going to be on the air. You don't want to miss a minute of it. We're also going to quickly tell you about Darrow's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Hello, Kevin and Cindy and the rest of those great folks. You know, if you've got a bunch of rumply crumplies that you need cleaned, or even if you haven't had time to wash your clothes, they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes. All you need to do is just stop in and see the really nice people that do one whale of a great job for you. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Wow, we have, let's see here, Richard Manning coming up at 9:06, and boy, are we going to get into a lot of political stories this morning. And then at 9:30, we've got Dan Savickas talking about universal health care and how it just, pardon the expression, ain't gonna work. And then at 10:06, Bill Myers talking about a brand new book, Angels in Our Midst. We're going to talk to him. And then at 10:32, we got Vicky's Country Garden. All kinds of big things. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley for all, and I mean all, your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. They've got it all with the best of people, and they've been serving you for over 6 decades. Please take the time to give them a call or stop in, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. It's the Yummy Man with the Burley Senior Center menu on South Overland. Today at lunch we're having meatloaf, baked potato, mixed vegetables, and chocolate cake with frosting.
Wow. That sounds pretty good, Joe.
Go ahead.
I said that sounds pretty good, Joe.
Now we could, meals to go, just call ahead and they'll be ready at noon for you to pick up.
All right, all of that at the Senior Center. And, Joe, thank you so much for giving us a call this morning. Appreciate that.
Having me. Bye.
All right, sir. Good man right there, Joe Taylor. I think he was having a little trouble hearing me on whatever the cause was. We certainly apologize. Hey, don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Dr. Bill, by the way, is having a big birthday. I mean, a big birthday with a lot of big numbers and candles. They've contacted the fire department in case they need the water. Oh, my goodness. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, where they take care of all your animals, regardless of whether you got a little bitty kitty cat or a whole herd of dairy cattle. You get a hold of them today, 678-1177, and they do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. And Dr. Bill is reaching a big birthday this Sunday, and we say happy birthday. Also, I've got good news because this is the week. This is the Thursday that we are going to have lunch bunch at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, because yours truly messed up last week. Anyway, don't forget Denny's Restaurant this week, and we would like to thank everybody like Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, Denny's, everybody for all the door prize certificates we're going to give away. And you can stop in anytime and all the time for all the delicious burgers and the different recipes and the different kinds of salad and all the different breakfasts. Oh, my goodness. Check out all the new menu choices at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley, and also 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Yes, sir. They are America's Diner. All right, calls are welcome, and we're going to start this week off with a lot of calls, we hope, and we certainly appreciate everything you do to help us. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We're looking at, and we're observing all through the day, every day, a very volatile situation with the country Iran. A country that, honestly, I think there's very nice people over there in Iran. I know some of the people that have left Iran to move here into this Magic Valley, one of which is a good friend of mine, and I'm going to try to get him on the air. But Iran and their leadership, if you want to call it that, extremely volatile and ready to fight and have a nuclear war. They keep saying that they're going to shoot down more surveillance drones, even if those drones are over international waters. They keep kind of nudging the bear a little bit, too much. And I honestly, I mean this, followed it with my friends back in D.C. last weekend. I honestly feel that Donald Trump came right to the moment of putting his hand on the button and saying, yes, we're going to go get him. Cooler heads prevailed. Now, whether it was the right choice or the wrong choice, I'm not going to say, because I don't know all the particulars, nor do you. But Trump said that he's going to wait and see if the sanctions that they're going to increase are going to cause more of Iran to buckle and start adhering to the human race instead of wanting to have a war. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Sooner or later, we're going to have to face the fact that Iran, Islam, is out for world conquest. That's been their goal from day one since the Quran was first published. And we have to look at the number of Americans that have been killed by Islamic terrorists that date back to the years. And that it's a religion, it's a theocracy, I should say, hiding behind the facade of a religion. It's a phony religion, and we treat it like a religion, but really, when you look at it, it's a theocracy to control the world, and the only thing they understand is just raw power. And we go back to Thomas Jefferson. The Barbary pirates were Muslims, and they were hijacking our ships, our merchant ships, and asking ransom. And we were paying this ransom. And finally, Thomas Jefferson, as president, said, I've had enough. We're not going to do that anymore. And he sent the Navy over, which became the Marines, and they went into Tripoli, and they literally scorched earth. They killed everything there, men, women, and children. And guess what? We never had any more problems from the Barbary pirates.
Well, wait a minute, Adrian, wait a minute.
Today, go ahead.
No, I just going to say, make your point, because in this first hour I've got a lot of things to get in there, so make your point directly so that I can get right to it.
Well, the main point is we have to confront. Economically, we can. They're a basket case, and we need to put on more economic sanctions because they really are in trouble that way. And I think we can bring them to their knees. That's the only thing they understand is raw force economically or politically. But if they keep shooting down our drones and so forth, we're going to have to take action.
Absolutely.
And we just can't sit back and let this happen because they've been killing Americans for decades, and we just turn the other cheek, and it's time to take action.
I agree with everything you said, except that I don't want to see innocent human lives taken because of a leadership that is not a leadership. They're nothing more than a kangaroo court as far as I'm concerned. The leadership of Iran that absolutely is going to roll their turbans up and sneer at the United States and have had their little actors out in the street saying death to America, et cetera, et cetera. But, I applaud Trump for not putting his hand on the button, for starting what could have been a very volatile situation over the shooting down of an unmanned drone. His common sense said, how many people are going to die for shooting down an unmanned drone? They said about 150, and he told Iran, okay, we're going to tighten the screws on sanctions. I think that, at that time, was the best way to go. I'll give you 30 seconds for a response, nothing more. Go ahead.
Well, I think the bottom line is that they just keep pushing at us, and we can't just continue to support them. And of course, Obama sent them $150 billion in cash, which really gave them a nice little nest egg there. But he was a Muslim himself, so this is the problem we have today: is that they will not go away until something economically will bring them to their knees, but I don't think that's going to totally be the answer.
All right, Adrian.
People don't have any respect for life, Zeb. That's the problem. They will kill their own people and think nothing about
I agree with your concepts, and I'm not going to back off on mine either on this program. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have a great week.
All right, sir. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay there. I want to tell everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Hello, Nick, and the rest of the great staff over there. And by the way, he has welcomed his son Josh into the fold over there now. And boy, I'll tell you, they're doing a great job taking care of your aching and painin'. Let me tell you, great place to get the treatments to help you get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Call them for an appointment at 678-1191, and they can help you. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I want to also remind you, busy time right now for Jake and the rest of the crew at Rain for Rent. Over in Paul, I'm telling you what they are. They're meeting themselves coming around the corners. They're so doggone busy right now in irrigation season at Rain for Rent, Reinke Diamond Dealer, and all the dedicated sales and service staff serving you and agriculture. Please get a hold of them today. The number to call, 438-5065. I'll repeat that, 438-5065, and they're located at 134 South, 600 West of Paul. Believe me, they know irrigation, and they want to help you. Rain for Rent. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, China, the second largest economy in the world, has got the most to lose in this Iranian deal because they get a very large portion of their fuel through the Hormuz Strait from Iran. And all these other countries that get their supplies from there, why aren't they speaking out?
You know, for me to sit there and say why, I don't know why. I don't know why there's not more of an allied situation against Iran to the point where, look, you spoiled little brat, you're not going to get an ice cream cone. In this case, it's nuclear weapons. Go sit down in the corner until you can behave yourself, and then we'll talk to you at supper. I mean, I'm fed up with bully nations like Iran and others trying to tell us how to operate, trying to tell the world that they're going to pull a trigger if they don't get their way. I'm fed up with it.
Well, is Iran a communist regime? Would you call it that?
No, I would. I'm not even going to call them a regime. I'm just going to call them a bunch of kooks and crackpots and crazies that are absolutely hell-bent on making a nuclear weapon to basically hold the rest of the world hostage. That's what I think they are.
Well, this Strait of Hormuz is the key to everything in this whole situation. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree that the Straits of Hormuz are the key that needs to be unlocked and open. I agree it's very strategic, and the world's oil supply that goes to other countries needs to flow freely through there. But politically speaking, I think there's a lot of holes in the screen door over in Iran, more problems than just the Straits of Hormuz.
Well, it's going to drive the oil industry crazy.
Well, I agree with that.
The largest producer.
Well, to a point, you're right, but now we're the largest producer.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We're the largest producer, but it's going to cause the price of gasoline and all petroleum products to be a lot more money if we don't get something done.
Oh, Keith, I agree with you. I think that it would be devastating for the economy. It'd be devastating for the stock market. It'd be devastating for the man on the street. It'd be devastating for rural areas and agriculture, devastating cost-wise. But cooler heads have got to prevail. And quite frankly, I took a little heat this weekend talking to some of my friends about my attitude about Trump backing off and not pushing the button against Iran. But my point is, give them some time, and if they don't adhere to the sanctions, then I say push the button and make these people, the mullahs and everybody else over in Iran, get the idea and get this stern impression in their mind that you're messing with a big bear and we will cuff you.
You know, the wonderful thing about Donald Trump is he's unpredictable, and that the element of surprise always comes out better, it seems like, because they're prepared and the other side isn't.
Well, I don't want to see another war. I don't want to see another war. The word war just absolutely just sickens me. It sickens me because I've lost too many friends in so-called conflicts and wars. But I guarantee you, I don't like being pushed around either, regardless of whether it's me personally or you or the state of Idaho or this nation. I don't like anybody trying to play a bully and push people around. And so if it has to be done, do it in full force to the point where they can't get off the floor. I got to run, Keith. Thank you so much.
You bet. Bye-bye.
All right, sir. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody the great big 4th of July is coming up. Activities over in Rupert. Independence Day. Celebrating Independence Day the Rupert way with the Grand Marshal, Dean and Linda Cameron. Really nice people. Starting on Saturday, June 29th, this coming weekend with the 6 a.m. on the square Christmas lighting breakfast. And then every day after that, my goodness, great food. Lots and lots of fantastic music. They're going to have on Monday, July 1st, the 3rd annual Mutton Bustin' at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. And then, of course, don't forget all of this leading up to the big parade on the 4th of July at 11 a.m. All of this at the great big celebrating Independence Day the Rupert way, 4th of July schedule over in Rupert. Going to be fantastic. Also, quickly, coming up starting this weekend, you know what's going to happen? Vroom, vroom, they're getting the boats ready. It's the Idaho Regatta starting this week, 27th through the 30th, right there at the Burley Golf Course Marina. But on Thursday, they're going to have the show and shine on the square in Rupert. Oh, boy, that's going to be ripping fun. And then, of course, Friday, the boat parade in Burley, and then Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday, all the big racing with these high-powered boats. Lots of different classes of boats and racing you're going to love and enjoy. It's the world-famous Idaho Regatta coming up this weekend, June 27th through the 30th. Don't you miss it. For more information and tickets, idahoregatta.org. Caller, good morning. Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Bell. I truly agree with everything you said to Keith on the last call. You know, war scares the bejesus out of me, but we cannot stand by and let these little wannabe thugs push us around and tell us what to do and how to do it.
No. Nor should anyone of any stature, of any country or any situation ever be pushed around or bullied. And when someone says, well, we're going to go ahead and take your $160 billion from a stupid president, Obama, he was, and we're going to take it and use it to enrich uranium and go ahead and create the nuclear bombs, you've got to do something. And quite frankly, I feel sincere regret and pity for the Iranian people because they are being subjected to idiots running their country.
Well, I feel sorry for the women and children who really have no part in this, but they're going to suffer the consequences. But, you know, that is one of the hazards of war. Innocent people are going to be hurt, but it needs to be done because if we don't, we're going to have another 9/11.
Somebody said Friday, and this just really irritated me. They said, well, why shouldn't they have a nuclear weapon? Why shouldn't they be just like the United States? Why shouldn't they just be like China? Why shouldn't they just be like Russia? And I thought, you idiot. All you need is a domino effect of every little country with every little turban-wearing kook that absolutely wants to push a button and the whole world would be in complete disarray.
No, I totally agree. I think it's asinine. People, people need to get their heads out of the sand.
Or elsewhere.
Well, I was being politically correct.
I know, but you were given a stern rebuke when you were over at my home the other day.
I know, that was a wonderful day. I really enjoyed our visit. But, you know, Zeb, people really do need to pull their heads out. This is not a place of even 30 years ago where you can walk around without having to worry about being kidnapped or murdered raped or
That's right.
whatever.
That's right.
This country is going to hell in a handbasket.
Well, I'll say this, and I don't care. Somebody sent me another email, and they said, or a call, pardon me, and they said, aren't you afraid of maybe making someone mad over your statements and your positions on these stories? No! I'm being honest about it. I'm going to tell you like it is.
Well, I want you to keep doing that because I'm not afraid of being that way either. And if people don't like it, they don't have to come visit me.
That a girl. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
You too.
All right, thanks. I've got to give away some cookies quickly from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, what a great bakery. Oh, what a great restaurant. Oh, my goodness. You got to stop over there. They can make and bake anything over there. Cookies, pies, wedding cakes, everything is delicious. And here is the question for today. And if you answer this correctly, you'll get a dozen delicious cookies. All you got to do is call and tell them when you're going to be there to pick them up at Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. This is an easy one. Easy one. In the movie The Magnificent Seven, who were the only two that rode away? Name the actors. Name the actors. In the movie The Magnificent Seven, who were the only two that rode away? Call me, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to tell you about some really, really great folks down in Elko, Nevada that put on one heck of a great rodeo, and that's, of course, all my friends at the Silver State Stampede. Don't forget, Thunder of Hooves, the thrill of an 8-second ride, and all the fun of PRCA rodeo action at your fingertips, July 12, 13, and 14, Silver State Stampede makes its way into the Elko County Fairgrounds. PRCA sanctioned rodeo with all the top cowboys and the Old West bronc riding, the mutton busting, the always popular Ring of Fear, everything, and Family Day on Sunday the 14th. Don't miss a minute of this. Be there and support one of the best rodeos anywhere in the Northwest. The Silver State Stampede at the Elko County Fairgrounds on July 12, 13, and 14. Don't you miss it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. 1979, that was the year before I was born, Ronald Reagan in the United States had it out with Iran and really put the hurt on them and brought them to the negotiating table real quick, from what I remember being told and what I've read. Lest they forget the whooping they got then, and I think it's about time they revisited that if they have a slight problem with their memory.
Well, sometimes little kids forget a whooping that was supposed to be a personality adjustment, and you might have to do it more than once. And this is the case you're talking about with Iran. I couldn't agree more. Only it's got to be a whooping they're going to remember. It's not just going to be a slap on the knuckles. It's got to be something they're going to say, whoa, we're not going to try that again.
You know, we're not dependent on the oil that comes out of that region anymore. However, we are dependent on other countries that are in that region. And Iran getting a nuclear weapon would be pretty disastrous, not just for everybody, everyone involved.
You're right.
A militant group that'll, a dirty suitcase bomb, which is pretty much a nuclear device in a suitcase, could wipe out a good part of New York City if they decided that's what they wanted to do. And how are you going to track that down?
Yeah, there you go. We've got some very dangerous times right now, Riley, and I appreciate it, and I thank you for your call. Hey, back to the cookies. Somebody better win those cookies real quick. I'm going to give you the question one more time. One more time. In the movie The Magnificent Seven, who were the only two that rode away? Name the actors that were the only two that rode away. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner.
Who is this?
Gerald Church.
Gerald? Is that right, Gerald?
Yes, Yes, Zeb.
Well, let me tell you something, Gerald. You're 100% right, and you are the cookie winner. So you get a hold of Sophie's Chatterbox and tell them when you're going to be over there to get your delicious cookies. It was Yul Brenner and Steve McQueen. God bless you, man. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Zeb.
All right, sir. Take care. Yep, it was Yul Brenner and Steve McQueen, the only two. Hey, by the way, the Rupert merchants are all ready for their great big Independence Day 4th of July celebration, like Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert, off the square, and ready for all your flooring needs, carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, all kinds of great things for your home. Installation is guaranteed with over 35 years experience. Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert, along with Haskin Insurance Service, 629 Fremont Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, the folks at Haskins Insurance would like to wish all their customers and friends happy, safe Independence Day, 4th of July. Absolutely. Give them a call, and the next time you're in the market for most any of the Haskin Insurance services at 436-4141. And Snyder Surplus. What great people, what a great location, and all kinds of goodies. They've opened their store at 116 South, 200 West of Rupert in July of 1997, and they offer a broad spectrum of items from ammunition to weapons, mess kits to MREs. It's all there. Stop in and just browse and enjoy everything at Snyder's Surplus. All of these businesses wishing you and yours a great big happy Independence Day 4th of July in Rupert. There you go. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. The ICE raids, this is a story that I'm really going to have to hold tight to the arms on this chair because it makes me so mad. The ICE raids were supposed to start today to gather up, round up, if you want to use the word the Democrats use, illegal aliens that have been living here and breaking further laws. Now, I am not going to be sympathetic at all, to what's going on. They need to be rounded up, and they do need to be deported. And the Democrats are absolutely crying the blues and telling Donald Trump through the voice of Nancy Pelosi, just give us 2 more weeks for a possible solution and we'll have the answer for you. Oh, hold off. Don't send in ICE and send these people back home. Oh, baloney. You know as well as I do the stall tactics of the Democrats don't lead to anything more than more stall tactics. And the Democrats and these stupid, inane, insane mayors of these Democratic cities have been warning these illegal aliens that ICE is coming, here's what you do to avoid them and everything. This isn't America the way I remember it. Where in the world are you going to send word out to illegal aliens, people that have broken the law, hey, go hide. Go over to 16th Street. Oh, yeah, there's a special house over there. It's a safe house. They're warning them. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one of the big wigs in the warning of these illegal aliens. What? And then they turn around and they call the ICE agents terrorists. Oh, these are evil people. They're doing their job to protect you and me in America. Calm down, Zeb. This absolutely is insanity. It's absolute insanity to think that our ICE agents are subject to a warning by the Democratic Party and basically giving a cloak and a shield to lawbreakers. This country is not the country I was brought up in. And if we don't start coming down heavy-handed right now on the idiots, and they are, and the lawbreakers, which they are, and government officials that want to continually break the law of the land that was set by lawmakers, we're done we're toast. I've never seen... Here, let me give you another example of lawbreakers really quick. You've all heard about Ilhan Omar, the Muslim from Minnesota, and she, along with other freshmen, if you will, members of Congress. Well, let me tell you something. This woman, this Muslim woman, has, in my opinion, after everything I've read and everything I've studied, has lied. Absolutely lied about her marriage and about coming into this country and everything else. And she swears the names and locations of respondents' parents, siblings, children, and other close relatives are as follows: unknown. That's not true. She is a liar and a member of our United States Congress. I am so worried about the low class of people that are being put into positions of power in the House and the Senate. And she is one of them, Ilhan Omar. And I just absolutely don't trust these people. And I certainly hope they are nothing more than a one-bullet Barney, or, in the case of her, a one-term Congresswoman. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's not forget our dear friends with Barry Equipment and Rental. And, of course, they have 3 locations to serve you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. For all that you need for equipment like lift and dig and push and carry, and you name it, they've got all the loaders, excavators, all the mowers. They've got everything. The Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, all the great big Bobcat line, all the different shapes and sizes. All of this and more, along with great service to you at Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see them today. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. These people that President Trump wants to deport have already had their day in court.
That's exactly right.
Told that they need to get out, and they didn't. That's just like somebody goes and say kill somebody, just has his day in court. You're supposed to report to prison on this day and doesn't go, and so you just let him walk around the country. I mean, what's wrong with what President Trump's wanting to do?
You know, I got to tell you this, Doug, I am so concerned about lawlessness in this country because of a Democratic Party that doesn't want the laws. They don't want anybody to be illegal. They want to absolutely form a bond with these people and form restrictions for law-abiding citizens and groups like ICE and Border Patrol, etc. They want them diminished and stopped in doing their job.
They do. They do. And the reason they want to do it, this is my opinion, and everybody's entitled to theirs. The reason they want to do that is because they want a lawless country, and they want to take us down to a third world country.
And it's happening.
They have their one world order.
And it's happening.
It is.
You know, Doug, how many times
right under the nose.
How many times have you had a conversation with somebody in the last year, 2 years, whatever, and you talk about this situation and they go, oh, that's not going to happen. It's the naivete of the American public right now that's getting us into all this trouble and making the situation worse.
Exactly. The uninformed, the ones that just all they do is got their face in the phone. They're wondering who's liked what they put on Facebook or Twitter, and they're not being informed about exactly what's going on. They only listen to one side of the story, and they hate, like those people down in, I can't remember what state it was, California, where that one cop got killed, that young lady.
Yes.
And they were heckling the police.
Yeah.
I mean, where are these people? Common sense, where's their brain?
Well, there is no brain. There is no brain on the left. It's not there. There is no functioning mentality of decency on the left, and I will stand behind that statement.
Yep, I agree with you 100%, buddy.
Hey, I got to tell you this quick before you leave, and I got to get the weather on, but now, does your wife knit or crochet?
No.
My wife does. And there is an online, listen to this, this is how crazy our world is today. There is an online knitting and crocheting community called Ravelry. You know what they did? They got together and they have banned all content supporting President Donald Trump.
What?
I am not. I know. It's funny, but yet there's literally millions and millions of women involved in this. And here's what they said. We are banning support of Donald Trump and his administration on Ravelry. We cannot provide a space that is inclusive of all and also will allow support for open white supremacy. And they have banned anybody belonging to that knitting and crocheting community organization to have anything with American flags, Donald Trump, or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't be a member of that organization, I'll guarantee you that.
This is complete lunacy, what's going on in this country. And when it comes down to knitting and crocheting, and now they're banning Donald Trump and saying he's a white supremacist, well, would you please give me the basis quickly? I'll give you 15 seconds on this, Doug. Give me the basis of making that attack on Trump saying he's a white supremacist. Please give me some basic facts.
Because they're brain dead. There is no facts.
There you go.
In fact, President Trump is the least racist person. Who honored him with the Rosie Park Award or something like that?
Rosa Parks.
For all he's done for the black communities before he was even running for president.
Yeah. I mean, the insanity of what's going on in this country, it's got to stop. I mean, it's got to stop. And I really appreciate calls like yours, Doug. Thank you so much. I'm way late. Got to run. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, everybody, let's do what you can for your senior centers. Go eat lunch there. Support them. Donate to them. It's a needed necessity because we're going to be there one day.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Doug. Hey, our weather forecast brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. I urge you to please, if you're noticing a diminishment in your hearing, to get a hold of them and have a hearing screening today. I had mine about, 3 years ago, and it absolutely helped me. They can and will help you, so I urge you to call today at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Please remember they've got 3 great doctors, Dr. Christine Pickup, Dr. Courtney Mitchell, and Dr. Shane Hunsaker serving you at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's the weather.
Sunshine and warming up as we get closer to the end of the month. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies for today. A slight breeze out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Possible gusts as high as 22. We are expecting a high of 77 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 49 tomorrow. Another nice one. Mostly sunny skies with a high of 83. Looks like more clouds will be moving into the valley for tomorrow night with a low of 52. Mostly sunny and 83 for Wednesday and for Thursday. Pretty much the same. Mostly sunny skies and a high of 79. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Rand.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to everybody this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. Write this number down and call 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, man. On a lighter note, just real quick, I don't know how many of you out there in the listening audience may have caught that game last night on television, the St. Louis Cardinals against the California Angels? But if you saw that baseball game, and it was one of the most, if not the most, tremendous double plays I've ever seen in all my years of watching Major League Baseball. It was so well done that I think it's going to be in the top 3 videos for Major League Baseball. There was a hit to second base, and without going through the names and everything, the second baseman, it bounced up, hit his glove, and he just slapped the ball to the shortstop coming across the bag and then threw on to first. I mean, the second baseman, Wong, for the Cardinals, he literally just slapped the ball in midair. And it was caught by the shortstop coming across the bag, and it was a double play. It was outstanding. If you get a chance on SportsCenter or wherever you might today, it'll be on. Believe me, it's going to be played all day and probably into the evening this evening. Outstanding double play. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. In case you were worried about having to pay black reparations, yeah, you know, the Cory Bookers and the Kamala Harrises and everybody went, oh, we've got to start paying those blacks from way back 250 years ago. Well, now the plot thickens. Now not only Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, but now Elizabeth Warren has jumped in. And she has said that gay and lesbian couples should also receive us to pay reparations to them. Look up the word insanity. That's us right now. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
You know, it's amazing how insane this is. And so, I don't know. You know, we just can't even appreciate how lucky or how fortuitous we are to have elected Donald Trump. You know, if he had struck back at Iran, then, you know, I think negatives would have came. You know, the people don't want war. They don't want to spend money on war. And the entire world would have went to Iran's defense because America, the bully, was picking on those poor, you know, people, the leadership. So, you know, yesterday on Chris Wallace, Mo Ella, whatever the hell his name is, was talking about confusion. And I says, if that's confusion, making a decision on information that you have, and maybe your instincts told you that you should not do it, and I guarantee you, doing it wasn't going to work that point. I don't know. I know they only understand force, but I just think that he was inspired. You know, my wife tells me Donald Trump prays every morning with a group. He's become an extremely spiritual man. I tell you what, thank God we have him, huh?
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I absolutely feel that under the circumstances that our world is in today, had Hillary been elected as president, I guarantee you property's looking very good up in Canada.
Well, I tell you what, I've been out and running all morning already. I was looking at all my buddies driving around, and I rolled down my window, and I said to one of the guys from the irrigation company, I says, here we go, we're off and running. And but thank God. You know what? I love America. I love this country. I love this where I live, the Mini-Cash area. I love all the people I do business with, because without them, I don't have anything.
There you go. Oh, by the way, I've got a news note for you, Randy. For those people that are really concerned about global warming and climate change, don't forget that snow has closed Yellowstone Park, and 15 inches of snow is in Colorado. And I want to send a snowball or two to world-famous climatologist Jim Jones over in Eden, because, oh my goodness, it sounds like with all the snow in the forecast, we're burning up.
Well, I'm going to, hopefully this year, I'm going to ride my bike, my hog, up through Montana with my sons, and we're going to go to Glacier, and we're going to see if they have taken all the signs down about the glaciers being gone.
I got to run, Randy. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you. Calls welcome. I know I'm almost out of time. Gee whiz, this hour went fast. Thank you for all your calls. Hey, by the way, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And we were in and saw Trent the other day over at the Overland location in Burley. What a nice man. Just one of the 7 great locations for your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my. They've got all the tires for your pickup SUVs and, of course, your cars, everything, horse trailers, boat trailers, you name it, there. Many of which are on sale, so you can save money right now on your safe summertime driving. I urge you to stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, wonderful Twist family over in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yes, sir, they do a great job on your brakes, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, along with the best in tires. At your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, you stop in and see those great folks today. Oh, boy, let's see what else have we got. Richard Manning at 9:06. Dan Savickas at 9:30. Coming up this next hour. Right now, Wheels, take us to the news. I'll be right back. Oh, my. Welcome back to hour number 2. That's a sad situation up there at Elmo, and I really understand how the people feel about having their little ones fairly close by at the school. I know the cost cutbacks and everything, and I'm not going to say too much right now this morning, but anyhow, good morning and welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires. And of course, don't forget too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, Western Waste Services, they are the best at what they do in serving you and getting rid of your garbage. I urge you to call right now, get on the route service. Once a week they'll be there. Load up your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Number to call 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Want to remind you, hey, old Anthony, a good old boy. I tell you what, it's Save on Shells, and they're located at 1827 Overland in Burley. I urge you to stop by and see him today at Save on Shells. Need a camper shell? Well, look no further than right there. Save on Shells. Give Anthony a call, and I'll tell you what, you're talking about quality, you're talking about great service, you're talking about low prices, you're talking about the best I know because I bought my camper shell there at Save on Shells, 1827 Overland and Burley. The number to call my buddy Anthony, 312-1525. Real quick, before we go to our guest this morning, I also want to say a great big good morning to a very, very nice man, his family, and his staff, and that's, of course, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with our dear friend Joel Heward, always serving you and your family and providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. When there's the passing of a loved one, please remember to call Let Them Help You at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Well, Mondays mean that we get a chance to visit with one of the most knowledgeable, one of the nicest people that's been on our program for a long, long time. He is the president of Americans for Limited Government, and we say a good morning to Richard Manning. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great. You have a good weekend?
Fantastic. I mean, it was perfect weather outside. I don't think I spent more than maybe 4 hours inside. How about you back on the East Coast?
No, we had great weather. It was a beautiful, beautiful weekend, so all was well. My wife was off doing something that she wanted to do, and so I was left to my own devices, which sometimes works out well, and other times not so much. But I survived this weekend, so that was good.
I tell you what,
all good.
Of all the things and items that are bothering and really making you itch and cringe in the world situation today, here's another one to add to the list, of which I don't know if you're aware of or not. But there is an online knitting and crocheting community called Ravelry, and they have banned all content supporting President Donald Trump, calling him a white supremacist. It doesn't end, does it, Richard?
Well, you know, I'm not in the knitting world, but I'm confident that unless they have a dominant market share in that world, I'm confident that people who support Donald Trump can divest themselves of their involvement with that community and hopefully cause that community to shrink and lose revenue. Because, you know, for some reason, there's a saying, and I think it's becoming pretty true. When companies go woke, they go broke, and it's because you really don't want to say to the world, I don't want half of Americans as part of my community. And by the way, a large portion of the people who didn't support Donald Trump aren't crazy in terms of saying we want to disassociate from anybody who supports Donald Trump. So you have a significant portion of people who wouldn't follow you off that cliff, even if they agree with you related to the presidential choices of 2016. So I'm always amazed by people who make those kind of choices. But Zeb, I think it's in many respects it's capitalistic. Capitalism takes care of it in a lot of respects, and it's free association. And quite honestly, don't buy your stuff from them. Don't belong to that community. Tell them goodbye. Find another community.
Rick, got to mention this to you because it was said last week on a national newscast, and then I've talked about it on my program extensively for about the last 3 weeks. Lawlessness, absolute disregard for the laws, disrespect for the people that are trying to enforce the laws, i.e. ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement, and anything to do with trying to make sure that the American public and the American taxpayer is protected. That seems to be not the mantra of the Democratic Party. When you have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and many others absolutely warning illegal aliens about when ICE is coming, what they're going to do, where they could hide, etc., what kind of a fairy tale are we looking at here? This is complete lawlessness.
It is complete lawlessness, and they embrace it, and it's and they think that the complete lawlessness is in some respect they believe that it's moral, and they're wrong, but that's how they rationalize it, and we've elected some people who are nuts. The House Democrats is a simple example. House Democrats passed a bill which has some money for humanitarian aid for the border. Finally, they passed something. But what they didn't include in it was about $60 million to pay back paid ICE officers who were working overtime, and basically there was no budget to pay them to provide the humanitarian aid, to actually enforce our nation's laws. And so the Democrats refuse to provide money for the back pay for the ICE officers. That's the mentality they have. They truly are at war with our nation. They want a flooding of illegals in. We've said this before, but I read a statistic this weekend that shocked even me, and that is in Texas, 9 out of 10 new residents are Hispanic, and not Hispanic, U.S. origin Hispanic. It is the holy grail is to take over Texas. The Democrats have had a Make Texas Blue project for years, where they've invested, trying to do it through convincing the people of Texas to become leftists, and they failed. And so now they're embarked on Make Texas Blue by virtue of overwhelming Texans with people who aren't from here. That's what they're doing. It's straight politics. And now they're pretending that they are compassionate and complaining about conditions on the border when they, in fact, are the reason why those conditions exist. And quite honestly, I've lost patience with them. Your listeners need to know one thing. When I speak in really measured tones, it means that if I don't speak in really measured tones, I will be yelling and screaming and perhaps using words that aren't FCC compliant. So it's and so there's this is just, it is pure evil what they are doing. It's bad for the people they're bringing across the border. It's bad for people they're enticing to come across the border. It's bad for people that they're recruiting to come across the border from Central America and from around the world. And and they're in cahoots with some really bad human trafficking cartels that are making a fortune off of this. I mean, 2 of the cartels in Mexico make more money on human trafficking than they do on drugs. It's their primary business. And that's why you're seeing the focus on Texas, because those cartels are based on the Texas border. And it is a complete abuse of humanity. And the Democrats have thrown in with it, essentially the human traffickers, the slave traders. And that's who they've thrown in with. And it's inexcusable. And yet they believe that they're in some kind of moral position because I can't rationalize for them. But so you have the Ocasio-Cortezes of the world who will sit there and create a problem and then decry the problem, and now and then blame the problem on the president, who's been trying to fix the problem for his entire term in office, and then expect that somehow that they're going to come up with a big solution to the problem, which is to give everybody health care like Bernie wants to give all the illegal aliens health care, or give essentially integrate people into the communities around the country, regardless of whether they were here legally or not. And so there's a real sense on the left that our borders are meaningless, and it's an irreconcilable difference. We just have to. Hopefully, the Senate has the guts to stand up to them and actually pass legislation that will both secure the border and meet the humanitarian needs on the border.
You know, Rick, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You're too good of a guest and good friend of this program. But the question, I think, if we were sitting having a adult beverage late in the evening or a cup of coffee in the morning with our wives, I would ask you the same question. Have we backed the bus too close to the edge of the cliff and we can't save it?
Ask myself that question all the time. Quite honestly, if I thought that was true, I would be doing something different. So it's I'd be doing something that actually was lucrative, and in that way, I would be able to get a safe haven for myself and my family, and that would be and that's my answer. So the fact that I am not doing that means the answer is I still believe there's hope. Although it is, and that hope is in the simple thing. We see how crazy the Democrats are, and we're going to see a lot of that this week with the debates. We see how crazy they are, and we're going to discover, just how far gone our country is in the 2020 election. Because if that kind of crazy can even, has a chance to win and gets 60 million votes, 65 million votes, and falls just short or actually wins, then now that would be a different answer. But I don't believe we give up on America that easily.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question, and caller, I'm going to ask you to make it short and very succinct. Go, please, you're on the air.
Well, these debates are going to show a lot of people just exactly what these people are like, if anybody's watching them. That's the thing. Will it pull that many viewers? There's a lot of people that don't even have anything to do with it. But when they start beating each other up, you'll see, like you say, what they are just exactly like. And, there was one guy had said on a radio program that if Trump was more careful, or did less tweeting, his poll numbers would just stay good and high, not too high, but sometimes they don't like his tweeting and they feel that it's negative, and, and maybe it is, but, I'll hang up. Thanks.
Respond to the caller, please, Rick, if you would.
If Donald Trump allowed the mainstream media to define who Donald Trump is, he'd be at 35%. So and he'd be dead in the water politically. The fact that Donald Trump is the first president who's had the capacity to fight back by bypassing the mainstream media, the so-called mainstream media, using something like Twitter to directly communicate with people is probably the saving grace of his administration. So I disagree with those people. I do know that there's a large number of people who don't feel comfortable with Donald Trump because he's on the edge. He pushes back. It's not comfortable. He makes people not comfortable. But the essence of the Donald Trump administration is creative destruction, and creative destruction of the administrative state, of the swamp, of the way things were, our slow demise, slow motion demise of our way of life and our economy was being orchestrated over a course of 20 to 30 years, and he's basically thrown a stink bomb into that, and has said, no, we're not doing that, and that requires conflict, and that's creative destruction. That's what he's doing. So it's uncomfortable, and I certainly sometimes when he tweets stuff, I just go, oh man, it's just, I feel like sometimes he tweets stuff just to make my life harder, but there's a method to it, and ultimately what people are going to have to decide is a very simple question: are they willing to embrace full-scale crazy on the left? Is that what they want, or are they going to be snowflakes who sit there and say, I don't like the way he talks, and so consequently, I don't care if I agree with him on 75-80% of the things that are happening. I'm going to vote for somebody who makes me feel better. I mean, that's the choice.
Yeah.
If we've come to the point where people are going to vote for somebody who makes them feel better rather than somebody who's going to make them actually have a better life, because it's more self-determinative, then we have failed as a country. If that's the case, we have failed as a generation, because the people we raised up don't appreciate the fount of what they've been given.
In the last minutes of this segment, I've got to ask you, last week we were on the brink, literally, of pushing a button and starting a war with Iran because of their activities and their inability to want to conform with the decencies of the human race. I think Donald Trump, and I'm going to state my opinion, I think he did the right thing in giving Iran more time to think about the error of their ways and let them know that they will not be doing anything more to antagonize the big bear. And your thoughts? Did he do the right or the wrong thing by stopping the pushing of that button?
Well, I think it remains to be seen, but I think that he, let's make an assumption that the cyber attack that was reported that the U.S. engaged in against the Iranian missile facilities did in fact occur. And, the problem is there's not big explosions for people to have on video and say, oh, look at that. But assuming that the cyber attack that was reported did occur, we probably did more damage to the Iranian infrastructure by that than we would have by dropping a few bombs and sending a few cruise missiles into various missile locations. And as such, particularly given the mobile nature of the missile systems they have, where it's very difficult to pinpoint launch points and future launch points. Given that, we probably did more harm to their launch capability than we ever would have by dropping bombs. And secondly, we didn't kill anybody in the process. And the truth is, if you're going to do a reciprocal kind of action, then you've got to have they didn't kill anybody. They took down a $135 million drone, but they didn't kill anybody. And so we took apart, using cyber warfare, we took apart their capacity to take down future drones, but we didn't kill anybody. So what we did was probably far more devastating than a few bombs would have been with far lower risk.
Absolutely well stated. I've got to ask you, we'll end the program segment on a lighter note this morning. You are a baseball fan, correct?
I am.
Did you see the game on television last night between the Cardinals and the Angels?
I'm an Angels fan.
You saw it?
The answer is yes. I saw parts of it.
But you have to admit, I'm a Cubs fan, but I guarantee you I have never seen in all my life of watching Major League Baseball as good a double play as what we saw put out by the Cardinals last night. Did you see that?
It was spectacular. It was like the ball bounced off the guy's glove into the second baseman's glove, into the shortstop's glove to complete the double play. It was to start the double play anyway. It's, I remember when I was a kid, they'd say catch the ball in front of you, throw it over the base, chest high. And now these guys are they've got little springboards in their gloves. The ball hits in and bounces out. It's like, how do they do that? Pretty astonishing.
Well, I was amazed, and I'm sure that replay will keep going on through the priorities of the sports today and tomorrow. One of the greatest double plays I've ever seen, and I'm glad that you agree with me. I was absolutely sitting there with my jaw down.
It's gonna get overwhelmed by all the hugging between Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols, but which was an interesting story in and of itself. As an Angel fan, let me give you one small thing. The Cardinal fans are getting a lot of praise for welcoming Pujols back and all that kind of stuff. And remember, 6 years ago when he left,
yep,
they were pretty mad at Pujols.
Yep.
But the people who are mad at Pujols now are really the Angel fans because he's killing the Angels in terms of how much money he's making, and he's not producing for the check. So the Cardinal fans got all the good years, and the Angel fans are paying for those good years. So our whole Pujols is a great guy. He's a great human being by all accounts, and he is right now a mediocre major leaguer getting paid $30 million a year.
Yeah, I tell you.
As an Angel fan, I love Albert Pujols, the person. I really wish he'd retire.
Very well stated. Richard Manning, my dear friend, president of Americans for Limited Government. As I say every week, we always look forward to Mondays for an honest appraisal of what's going on. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
God bless you. Take care.
Thank you very much. Great guy. Richard Manning, with president of Americans for Limited Government, tells it like it is, and I have the utmost respect for him. Holy cow, we got to pay some bills here real quick. And I want to remind you, too, about all the activities that are going to be having fun for you and your family at the great big Rupert 4th of July celebration of Independence Day. Holy moly! Burley. It's going to start on this coming Saturday, June 29th at 6 in the morning with that Christmas lighting breakfast on the square in Rupert, and then the fun really gets underway. Holy smokes, they've got great food booths every day. Delicious. Along with great music. And then don't forget that on, Monday, the 1st, they're going to have the 3rd annual mutton busting competition. And then, of course, they're going to have more music and great food all week long during, up at the square. And then don't forget on Wednesday, the Firecracker 500 lawnmower races at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. And then on the 4th of July, Thursday, the great big parade at 11 o'clock. And it continues through the weekend on the 7th with horse racing at the fairgrounds. Wow! Celebrating Independence Day the Rupert way. You be sure and attend all the fun over in Rupert. I got another great fun event I want to tell you about quickly. And that's the Idaho Regatta. It starts this week, yes, on Thursday, with the show and shine on the square in Rupert, and then, of course, the big boat parade in Burley, 10 o'clock on Friday morning, and then they're going to start the racing on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I mean, they're going to have some boats there that can attain speeds of over 140 miles an hour. Woo! Hold on to your Dixie cups. I'll guarantee it's all going to be at the Burley Golf Course Marina. Don't forget it. And for more information and tickets, go to idahoregatta.org right now. Don't forget the great big Idaho Regatta coming up this coming weekend. Whoa! It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking to Lewis with the Idaho Regatta later on this morning, as a matter of fact. Don't forget that. By the way, before we get our next guest on the program this morning, I'm running just a few minutes late. I want to remind everybody about our dear friends over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. They're having a great big summer clearance on mattresses and recliners, and they've got great low prices on floor coverings. And don't forget, close out on some carpets. All you need to do for the beautification of your home, stop into Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Check them out at 459 Overland in Burley. And the great staff serving you, Jeff and the rest of the folks, they say a big howdy to you. Come on in. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More in Burley. Also want to keep you in mind about our great friends over at Let's Ride. Oh, get your motor running at Let's Ride. What a great weekend this past weekend was to get out and just enjoy the trails up in the hills, or maybe put a watercraft in the river or the lake. Ooh, yeah, they've got them all right there in the showroom at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Great accessory department and a super service department, keeping you running and gunning and enjoying life at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Right now, we're going to head to the phone line, and I'm going to say this man's name, and if I say it wrong, I expect him to correct me, because I would appreciate the correction. We're going to be visiting with Federal Affairs Manager at Freedom Works, Dan Savickas. Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, Zeb. You got it spot on.
Well, that's the first thing I've been congratulated on all morning. So, man, you've made my day. Thank you. Dan, I wanted to get you on the air because when it comes to one-size-fits-all health care and the idiocy and lunacy of what's being perpetrated by the Bernie Sanders and the Kamala Harrises and others in the Democratic Party, I am so afraid of what will be the denigration and demolition of health care in America. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. The Medicare for All proposal saying health care is a human right and therefore it's free. That's not actually what it means. If I were to become president tomorrow and say all Ferraris and Corvettes are a human right and they're free, the result wouldn't be that everybody would get Ferraris and Corvettes. The result would be that people would stop making Ferraris and Corvettes because it'd no longer be financially possible for them to do so. And if you do the same thing with health care, drug makers are going to stop being able to invest research and development into new, potentially life-saving drugs. Hospitals are going to have to cut back on doctors and administrative costs because they're not going to be able to charge what they need to keep going. And you're going to see the wait times and the drug shortages that you see in single-payer systems in Canada and in Europe. And it is going to absolutely demolish the high-quality healthcare system that we have, albeit flawed, but high-quality healthcare, quick access, and revolutionary life-saving drugs that we have in America right now, that's all going to go away if we move to a single-payer Medicare for all model.
You know, Dan, I want you to elaborate a little bit on certain subjects that you mentioned. One of the subjects is research. You know, right now, this country and its medical profession and medical people involved, people going through our university system to be doctors and nurses, etc., there won't be any great stimulation of thought to try to make them want to get into that profession if they know that their income levels are going to be capped and that there's no money for research. I mean, we could be seeing a complete demise of medical treatment, not only here, but around the world.
Absolutely. And if you just look at the stats, doctors in the United States get paid more than they do almost anywhere else in the world. And that's the reason why America attracts the best and the brightest minds to be doctors here. Now, if you cap those earnings, the best and the brightest minds are going to find a different field, and you're going to see a drastic falling off of the standard for medical care in the U.S. And you also mentioned research and development. A lot of drug makers perform their research and development in the United States because we have higher quality facilities and a better market with fewer government regulations than anywhere in Europe or Canada. So drug makers do their research and development here, and they're able to roll out life-saving drugs more quickly and in bigger numbers here because of the lack of government controls, not in spite of them.
You know, let me ask you this, Dan, and you're closer to this than most people, but when you look at the idiotic comments by Bernie Sanders and others of the Democratic left, I mean, saying that it is a right, it's a human right to have health care. I am going to be the bad guy here, and I'm going to slam my fist down on the table and say, no, it is not a human right. It is not to be provided by government. It's not to be just given to people. How wrong am I?
No, you are incredibly right, and I'll congratulate you for a second time. You're right on the money there. Anytime somebody from the federal government tells you that something is a human right and it involves taxing you and your family, you should run screaming in the other direction. The rights that the government gives us should be negative rights, as in you have a right not to be bothered by the government to infringe on your religion, your speech, your right to bear arms. The rights that we have involve the government getting out of our lives, not getting the government into our lives. So the right to free speech means the government can't bother you and can't dictate what you can and can't say. The right to bear arms means that the government can't prevent you from defending you and your home. Rights aren't, this healthcare is a right. That doesn't mean that the government can come in and give you health care. Like, I don't demand that the government provide me with a weapon. I just demand that they don't prevent me from doing so. That's how rights work, and Bernie Sanders has no understanding of it.
You know, when you look at America today, Dan, when you sit down at your desk every day at your office, and you look at America today with the liberal, and I'm going to call it evil slant of the Democratic Party, welcoming lawlessness into this country, welcoming illegal aliens to have prevalency over you and I, legal taxpayers, on a 1 to 10 scale, we're going to hell in a hurry. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I think there are a lot of issues. The one thing that gives me a little bit of confidence is that I think Democrats are going to realize very quickly that their proposals are so out of control that they can't deliver on all of their promises. And once that happens, hopefully that'll pull the curtain back and say, this was all a lie, this was all fake. Like, for example, Bernie Sanders has been saying that the 1%, the super rich, are going to be the ones who pay for these entitlement programs. And then just recently he says, oh, everyone, even lower middle-class Americans, will be delighted to pay more taxes. So people are starting to realize it's not just the super rich who are going to have to pay for these. It's going to be lower and middle-class families. And once they start to see that come out of their pocketbook, they'll realize they've been sold a false bill of goods, and hopefully won't trust any false promises like this ever again.
Well, just this morning I was given a story that was written by a friend of mine, David Creighton, with the Daily Caller, and also he's the Ottawa bureau chief, about Bernie Sanders introducing a bill that would make $1.6 trillion with a T in student loan debt just disappear. I mean, this is complete lunacy that the Democrats and especially Bernie Sanders would be touting this, but yet people are buying into it. Somebody's got to pay the piper.
Exactly, and I've been saying that this 2020 Democrat presidential primary is just going to be the race to see who can give away the most stuff. You started off with the Green New Deal and Medicare for All. They were going to fix the environment and give everybody free health care. Now it's student debt forgiveness has been added on top of that. Now we're having congressional hearings about reparations for slavery. And Elizabeth Warren didn't think that was quite ambitious enough. Now she wants to do reparations for gay and lesbian couples in the United States. And I can't wait to see what's next and how far they go before we even start having elections. We've got 8 months before anybody even votes in these primaries, and we're already giving away reparations to almost half the country.
Well, whether it's the new Green Deal, which is complete lunacy with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I will say is running the Democratic Party, it's not Nancy Pelosi, or whether it's excluding and excusing debt owned by students, the list goes on and on of all the things that are going to cost the American taxpayer under the guise of Democrats saying it's free, free, free. I mean, I'm really worried about this next election in 2020. If we get one of these lunatics in as President of the United States, I'm going to call a real estate agent up in Canada.
Well, I don't know if you'd want to go to Canada because they've got plenty of socialists up there, too.
Well, the point is, though, that we somehow have to right the ship. We've got to right the course. And, Dan, I'm not sure how we're going to get it done because our kids are being taught all this absolute garbage in our school systems.
No, absolutely. The left has kind of consolidated their cathedral where the journalists tell you what public opinion is, and journalists only trust academics in left-wing universities, and these academics in left-wing universities are teaching our children and the future of our country, and they come out with left-wing views, and they only subscribe to the left-wing orthodoxy, and all of a sudden, public opinion is just whatever the left believes at any one given time, regardless of the fact that there are millions of conservatives across the country, but they've used this system to consolidate power and what you see and what you're told. And it started to become where they started to associate being a good person with being a left-wing individual. And it is scary the way that they've consolidated this network, their stranglehold on the media, on the university systems, on public education at the lower levels. It's really something that we need to address and start looking at private sector solutions to make sure that the government doesn't have this much control over what's put in front of it.
You know, whether it's healthcare or whether it's any business or any of the great opportunities in this great country of America, I keep using the word great because I don't know how else to describe this land that has provided me with so much in my adult life. But the whole thing boils down to competition. Without competition, you're not going to see the greatness. You're not going to see the lower prices. You're not going to see better healthcare. And that's what the Democrats want to eliminate in this country is competition.
Absolutely. The Democrats don't want competition. They want the government to be the sole provider of whatever commodity it is at the time, including health care, including education. But you see prices go down when competition gets introduced in the market, and you give people a choice between what's best for them and what's most cost-effective. You give the informed consumer a choice to make the decisions that are best for them and their family, instead of that decision being made in a back room at some government agency in Washington. They don't have a stranglehold on what the reality is for families like where you are in Idaho, or for families like mine back in New Jersey. Government regulators can't make a one-size-fits-all decision for American families, and yet that's exactly what these 24 Democrat candidates are trying to do, and trying to make the law of the land.
Let me ask you this. This is purely your thought and opinion on the upcoming Democratic debates, but I will say this, out of the 24, after the first debate, we, in my opinion, will see a shake and bake to the point where it might only be a respect for 4. I think 20 people are going to step on their lip and they're going to make fools out of themselves. Am I wrong?
I think they'll make fools out of themselves anyway, but but I don't know if these candidates are going to go away. You look at some of the people and you ask, why are they even running in the first place? So I'm not sure that we're going to see too many people drop out after these debates, but I'm sure that some people will consolidate support and hopefully will whittle down the field over time, because it's just nuts, although it is fun to watch them make fools out of themselves in the meantime.
I couldn't agree more. Listen, I hope that you'll come back on this program. Federal Affairs Manager at Freedom Works, Dan Savickas, thank you so much, and God's blessings to you, man. You're welcome here anytime.
Yeah, great to be with you. Hope to be back soon.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Good guy, and I'm glad that I had him on the program, Dan Savickas. And, you got to ask yourself, will America wake up? Will America and your neighbors down the street, or your friends in California, or your relatives in Florida, are we going to wake up and say, whoa, wait a minute, the greatest country in the world, the greatest country ever in the world's history, with the greatest constitution, are we going to just let this slide into a pile of you-know-what? And we're sliding. It's time that somebody, or a group of somebody stood up and said, we'll take it on the chin, because we're not going to let America slide into that abyss. Right now, we got to get a weather forecast on here, and then we'll take some more calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, and the very, very best of accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the best at what they do. Caller, stay with me. I'll be right with you. And they have the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, payroll services, retirement planning, all of this and more, with 2 locations to serve you. In Burley and Rupert, don't forget the best, serving you, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Sunshine and warming up as we get closer to the end of the month. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies for today. A slight breeze out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Possible gusts as high as 22. We are expecting a high of 77 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 49 tomorrow. Another nice one. Mostly sunny skies with a high of 83. Looks like more clouds will be moving into the valley for tomorrow night with a low of 52. Mostly sunny and 83 for Wednesday and for Thursday. Pretty much the same. Mostly sunny skies and a high of 79. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to everybody by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And I urge you to get a hold of them. They can help anybody and everybody. If you're involved in agriculture, manufacturing, food production, construction, whatever your business, you, your family, and your business, you would be better served to work with our dear friends at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Caller, thank you for your patience. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
just a little look into the future. The enemies that we have that want to bring America down are very patient. What's going to happen, they're going to take one city at a time until they eventually have all the cooperation from the politicians who allowed them to take the cities over. And then when they finally take over, all these Democrats and ones that allow them to have all this power, the enemy is going to figure they can't be trusted, and they're going to be the first ones to be taken out and executed. This is what I'm seeing in the future if things keep going the way they are.
I can't argue with you at all on that. I think that moral value is gone in this country unless people start turning around and looking the steps that they've made and make a better path for the future. I could not agree with you more. I do not see anything that is good, anything that is decent, anything that is going to be great for this country's future on the left side of the aisle. The Democrats, as far as I'm concerned, en masse, are an evil, evil party that's bound for the destruction of America. If somebody's offended by that statement, that's your problem, not mine.
Well, we've got a few Republicans in there that seem to be joining them. And their families, their young families, their sons and grandsons are going to suffer under these people that take over this country. And if we're not, have our eyes open to what's going on, we're going to lose it.
I agree. Tony, that's very well stated, and you know that you're always welcome to call into this program, you and your lovely bride. Thank you so much for your call.
Thank you, Zeb. Thanks for allowing me to be on.
God bless you, my dear friend.
Okay.
He's right.
Bye.
Tony's right. And I'll tell you what, we need a big broom and a dustpan right now. I guarantee you we've got a lot of cleaning in this country, regardless of Republican, regardless of Democrats. I'll tell you what, just look. Don't look at a partisan platform. Just look at the moral value that is gone in this country. And I dare anyone out there in the listening audience, anyone, to challenge me on that and tell me that it's not. It's gone. Don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, for all your life insurance and health insurance and your employee benefits, they know and they care, and they want to help serve you. All you got to do is just give them a call and make an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. The best serving you, dedicated and responsive to your needs, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. That number again, 436-4424. Really, really good people. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to reiterate that this week, Thursday, we're going to be at Denny's restaurant for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Now, listen, there is a special incentive for you to be there because Deanne and myself and Denny's are going to provide you with a special treat. Be there Thursday at 11:30 at Denny's restaurant. We also want to say thank you to Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, dear old friend of this program, believe me, and Denny's for all the goodies they provide. Thank you so much. As you know, Independence Day is looming right around the corner. Literally, it's coming on way fast. I can't believe how fast summer is going. And next week being the 4th of July, I want to urge you to be part of the 4th of July celebration, Independence Day celebration in Rupert. Some of the businesses and people that want you to come on over and have fun include Senator Kelly Anthon. I'll tell you, he says, come on over and bring your friends and neighbors, Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred, and and everybody enjoy all the activities up on the square during the 4th of July. And that's from our dear, dear friend telling you to be safe and yet have a lot of fun, Senator Kellyanne Thought. Bit my tongue. Dixon Oil, 602 South 2nd and Rupert. Boy, oh boy, they've been in business since 1951. And they want you to drive the best and the safest vehicle. They have a great service station, all the gas, all the oil, propane for heating. Daryl and the crew at Dixon Oil wishing you a great Independence Day, 4th of July. And Haruza Insurance, 723 South 3rd Street in Rupert. Really nice people. And they can quote your commercial and business, auto, home, life, and health insurance today. Give them a call. They offer the best of competitive rates at Haruza Insurance in Rupert. And all of those great people urge you to be a part of the Rupert Independence Day, 4th of July. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
You know, Zeb, is this not the greatest place on earth living here in the Magic Valley? I mean, seriously. I know we have wind, but, you know, the winds could be tornadoes or hurricanes, or they're just high winds. Other than that, I mean, some of the most industrious, smartest, hardworking people that you've ever seen in your life are right here. There are no better business people than these ones that I work with. I am, you know, it's just amazing. And
well, I'm just gonna jump in and say no. There is no better place. I have had the opportunity that has been afforded me in this great country, America, to put forth some work ethic and to put forth the knowledge and ability that God gave me to go out, and I've been everywhere around the world. And when I come back here to home, I couldn't agree with you more. We've got a great climate. We've got great, great agriculture. We've got businesses that are coming in. We've got super people, smart people. We've got everything right here. So no, I can't find or think of or have been to a better place than right here.
Yeah, and you can just drive, whether or not you go north or go over here to Mount Harrison or Cache Peak, or wherever you go, there's mountains, rivers, lakes, and it doesn't take nothing to go find the mountains, to go camping, to go get on the river. I mean, here in the Minicash, I don't know, from Milner up to Minidoka Dam, I don't know how long that is, but that's a lot of access for recreation, ain't it, and fishing. I mean, there's no place else on the Snake River that you can get on it like right here.
That's right. I agree with you, and we should be so proud, but yet we need to preserve it too. We need to preserve everything about our culture and stand up for our Constitution and our laws, and not let the Democrats demean our Constitution and belittle our laws so that they give more rights to people that are not citizens. Randy, I got to run to the news, but God bless you for your call. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yep, this is the greatest place in the world to live. But we've got an obligation to protect it. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, good morning. What a phenomenal day outside. I love the blue sky and the warmer temperatures. Enjoy. Great living right here in the Magic Valley. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of their safe driving tires. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. You know, we also want to acknowledge our friends over to Patterson's. These are really, really nice people that know all about your electronic needs. Let's say that you're looking for car stereos and speakers. Got them, absolutely the best. All the televisions from Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, and LG TVs, all there at Patterson's. And then, of course, don't forget all the home theater systems and the video surveillance cameras, everything, and the HughesNet Internet. All of this and more, and they're open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6 at Patterson's, 421 East Main in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks at Patterson's today. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I want to really learn more about this book called When God Happens, Angels, Miracles, and Heavenly Encounters, written by Angela Hunt and Bill Myers. And I believe that we have Mr. Bill Myers on the phone with us right now. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you?
I am on a 1 to 10 scale about a 32, so having a good day. Let me ask you about your book. Kind of give me a thumbnail sketch about it that you wrote with Angela Hunt. When God Happens, Angels, Miracles, and Heavenly Encounters. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, sure will. It's actually the second book that we wrote. The first one dealt with miracles, and then the second one deals primarily with angels. A background, just so that you know that we're not crazy nuts. We're both in our 60s. We've been pretty conservative, white bread type Christians most of our lives. Angela's got her doctorate in theology. I'm just a writer, a filmmaker. And between the two of us, we've heard and seen so many miraculous sort of things that we thought, well, let's take a chance and have everybody think we're a little crazy and start recording the ones that we know about, vetting them thoroughly so that it's not just somebody that's maybe taken too much medication someday. And we came up with this second book of the two, and the second one deals with angels. We were not crazy about doing a book on angels because there's so much misinformation, people worshiping angels and that sort of nonsense. But again, between Angela's rock-solid theology and my experience as a documentary filmmaker, I think we came up with something pretty good here.
Bill, I'm going to be very forthright and honest that when it comes to the New Testament and the Bible and the talking about angels here dwelling among us, you're not going to offend me, and you're certainly not going to have me wrinkle my nose at you for anything you say. I believe in that subject matter. Now, that being said, how do you go about researching yes, no, truth, or fiction when you start talking about angels affecting people's lives?
Yeah, a great question. Sometimes we go as far back as finding the medical records. I remember in our first book we had a doctor, a professor of literature, a friend of ours, who insisted that his daughter had been dead and was raised from the dead as a baby. And we thought, well, okay, we like you very much. He said, no, take a look at the medical records. And we looked at the medical records, and at the very bottom of the page, the doctor wrote, miracle. So sometimes when they're scientifically verified, we're pretty comfortable about that. There are certain patterns that we see. If somebody says that an angel appeared to them and wanted to be worshipped or was doing something other than what we see biblical, and biblical is mostly just delivering messages or intervening, we threw those out. We were pretty skeptical. So the stuff that we did put in the book is pretty well vetted. Whether it's talking to the person, talking to people that know the people, that know that they're not prone to fantasy. So it's still word of mouth. It's not like there was documentation with photographs, though some claim to have had that. We didn't publish any of those. But it's pretty much just word of mouth and doing due diligence and research.
Bill, this is a fascinating subject to me because it wasn't that many years ago that I have openly mentioned on this program. I believe that I did have an encounter with an angel, and it basically really helped serve my life at that particular time. How do you go about finding these stories?
Well, in my case, as a documentary filmmaker that's been filming for about 45 years, when you hear those stories or you interview people on another subject, I just sort of kept that in my back pocket. In Angela's case, she did a lot of research. She did studied some history, studied some missionary accounts, and then, of course, went deep into the Bible as far as angel accounts there as well. So it's mostly, again, people that we know or people that we've researched in history.
You know, the title just opens up all kinds of thought. And when it comes to When God Happens, Angels, Miracles, and Heavenly Encounters. How did you come up with that title?
We leave that to smarter people than us. The title to me sounds pretty radical, but as you said, it gets people's attention, and it's certainly true. I mean, the stuff that we've heard, the people that we've interviewed, it's been a real boost to my faith to know that we're not out here on our own, bungling around, but that we definitely have somebody that's looking out for us.
You know, Bill, I don't want you to give away anything from the book because I want to urge people to have the book and enjoy the book. But can you give us a for instance of one of the stories in that book?
Absolutely. I think, looking at the table of contents, I think we have about 20 of these stories. So even if I give away one or two, we haven't ruined the read. One of my favorites was a personal encounter I had with my photographer. We were in Switzerland, my cameraman. We were in Switzerland doing, I don't even remember, some documentary on something. And as a devoted cameraman, he always wants to get that perfect shot. So I was in our compartment, he was in the passageway, and we're going through the Alps. He leaned out the window with his little camera and leaned out a little further and a little further. And then just about when he was getting that perfect shot, somebody grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, by the collar, yanked him out of the window so hard that he hit the opposite side of the train compartment. He was not happy about that. And he looked around, and there was nobody there. Just about that time, within a second or two, a rock cliff passes by the train window, probably 12 inches from the train, which would have easily destroyed my cameraman. So that was one of the closest encounters that I've had, just to see this. And it's not untypical. We interviewed another man who was climbing not a mountain but a cliff, and lost his footing, and he lost his hand grip, and he was about ready to fall, and he felt this intense pressure against his back, shoving him against the face of the cliff, holding him in place until he finally found a foothold and a handhold and was able to scramble on down. So those sort of stories are an encouragement to me, to see God working when we bungle. Another story that comes to mind is a man who was not necessarily any type of faith, who heard a distinctive word that said, "Go home." He was on a business trip. Well, it was so startling to him and so dramatic that he did. He caught an earlier flight home than he intended, and he got there to discover that just a few minutes before, lightning had struck his house, and had he not been there and awakened his wife, the lightning came into the bedroom and destroyed the bed where she was sleeping. So those sort, you can say coincidence sometimes, but when they're that clear, it's again a real encouragement.
Bill, let me ask you this question. Bill.
I was rattling on. Go ahead.
No, you're not rattling on at all. I found it very interesting. But let me ask you this today. Unfortunately, today more so than ever, I think, in the world's history. Anyone that espouses their belief in God or their belief in God's hand working and shaping various things on a daily activity, they're scoffed at, and they're belittled, and they're demeaned. And it's getting worse daily. Do you think we can ever turn this around so the respect is back for God and happenings such as miracles?
Well, that's a great question. And I think I would go one step past that and say, I don't think we have to be concerned. If the same God that is doing this stuff on an individual basis, I think his reputation, I think he's going to be pretty good at keeping his reputation intact. Do I think it's going to get worse, to answer your specific question? Yeah, maybe, probably. I mean, that's Scripture promises us that persecution will be coming. But do I think it's the end of all reason? No. I think God, the same God that does these things on a personal basis, will not hesitate to intercede on a larger basis.
Now, tell us a little bit about the book itself, where it can be obtained, and give us a little background as to how my listeners can get a copy.
Oh, great. There's always Amazon, and it's the title of the book is called When God Happens. There's part 1 and part 2. So there's Amazon, online. I think it's every online store, basically. And then, of course, our favorite is to find the local bookstore, Christian or otherwise, just to make sure that they get some business, since everybody's struggling so hard to keep in business with the online people. So I'd say any bookstore. If the bookstore doesn't have it, you can order it, and it takes a few days for them to order it. So it's the standard way of buying a book.
What is next on Bill's list of must-dos? Another book, another documentary regarding religion? What's in the future for you?
Well, I wish more people would read. To me, reading is a deeper experience than watching film or TV, because your imagination and you participate with the author. However, because I have such a passion for people to know the compassion that God has for them, we're turning our sights more and more to movies. In fact, we just finished our first children's movie that will be coming out in January, called Secret Agent Dingledorf and His Trusty Dog Splat. So I'm going back and forth between books and films. Years ago, before you and I were born, I did created a series called McGee and Me for Focus on the Family. So I vacillate between the two. My preference is books, but if I want to reach more people, I usually wind up in the film and video area.
Bill, I just very emphatically state, and in no cowardly fashion whatsoever, that we need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to what really right and wrong and moral values are in this country. And it's people like you that I would say are helping. And I just really want to commend you on this book and any future work that you're involved in.
Oh, I appreciate that, Zeb. Thank you. And the same with you. You're certainly out there being a light in some murky water.
Well, Bill, when you hear the moo of a cow on my program, it means that we have a caller with a question. Caller, go ahead for Bill Myers, please. You're on the air.
Can you ask for the help of the angels through the heavenly, through heavenly spirit, through Jesus Christ? I mean, can you ask for help? And are there demons, with some of these people that are running our country or running for office, and the things they say and do, there's no way that they have any sense of right and wrong or the existence of God. Are they possessed? Some of them seem like they are literally possessed. I'll hang on.
Respond to the caller, Bill, if you would, please.
Oh, I sure will. I don't know. There's that whole thing called free will, where God just steps back and lets us have our way until we're in such a mess that we cry out for help. We actually, in our first book, talk about a psychic in Los Angeles who was possessed. But I'd say that immorality is a lot of time, though it may be spurred on by the enemy. I don't think there's any shortage of it just in the human heart. People doing things that are reprehensible or lying, and I think the caller's right. We're slipping further and further, as you said, Zeb, further and further away from bedrock truth. And now truth becomes a relative thing that we manipulate so that we feel good about it.
Well, I always revert back on this program to a Bible verse that is really, really to the forefront today, and it's in Isaiah chapter 59, verse 15, when it says, "Truth is gone, and anyone who renounces evil is attacked," and that's what we're seeing today.
Wow. And that's a sobering verse, isn't it? I can tell you, out here, I live in Los Angeles and work with the entertainment community. Most of them are great, great people, but there is still a bigotry, a prejudice towards the truth of Jesus Christ. Some of it's just ignorance, but some of it is just digging in, saying, I don't care whether it's right or wrong. That's not going to be, we're not going to be producing that. So the media certainly is a powerful influence, and none of us are thrilled with what's happening.
You mentioned Los Angeles, and I'm just making an assumption here that maybe you know another good friend to me and this program, attorney James Herson. Do you know James?
I know the name. Tell me about him.
He's an outstanding guest to have on the program, any program. He's a very, very strong Christian man and talks about the ills of society, especially looming out of California and Los Angeles and the film industry. And if you ever get a chance to visit with him, please take the time. He's an outstanding individual.
I certainly will. There aren't many of us out here, so I'm sure we'll bump into each other soon.
Well, I would love to get a copy of your book, and I'm going to make it a priority, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate your taking the time to be on my program, and please know that you're always welcome to come back. Bill, thank you so much.
Oh, my privilege. Thank you.
All right, sir. God bless. Thank you very much. I love the title of this, When God Happens, Angels, Miracles, and Heavenly Encounters, and written by two wonderful people, best-selling authors Angela Hunt and Bill Myers. And Bill, thank you again for being on our show. I've got time for a call or two, so give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am blessed, absolutely blessed on this program, to have the best of advertisers and sponsors, and one of which is Dino Septic Service. And it all happened by chance. I mean, they were over here doing some work for me, and long story short, I said, hey, would you like to come on my radio program? And they've been one of our mainstays for a long, long time. Dino Septic Service, and of course, the very best for you. They do the job you don't want to do. Septic tank pumping, and of course, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, water and sewer lines installed, backhoe services, like I said, all of this and more by people that really care and they know their business. Please call them at 436-6526 or 678-1638. As I said, fast, fair, friendly service with that big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service, absolutely the best. By the way, I had a couple of calls, and people are saying, now, you're sure Lunch Bunch is going to be this Thursday? Yes, it's going to be this Thursday at 11:30. I know I goofed last week. And we'll certainly look forward to having you at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. We have got a whole bunch of gift certificates to give away. And our thanks to Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, and Denny's. And we urge you to be there at 11:30 at 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. And there's a special incentive because Deanna and I and Denny's are going to give you a very special treat. So we're looking forward to having you there this Thursday at 11:30 at Denny's. Okay, let's see what else have we got cooking here. Oh, my goodness, did you see that on TV last night? I couldn't watch it. No, I went back to the baseball game. The Flying Walendas were up 25 stories walking across a high wire between the buildings in New York City. 25 stories up? Are you kidding me? The family suffered a horrendous crash not too many years ago, and they were back with that TV show last night, walking 25 stories up on a high wire. No way. I can't even watch that kind of stuff. Coming up next hour, we've got the wonderful Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, and we'll be answering if you have questions about your gardening or your landscaping or whatever. Be sure and give her a call. That's coming up at about 10:32. Then we're going to be talking to Lewis with the Idaho Regatta, kind of the last minute, getting everything ready to go because the boats are going to hit the water this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun at the world-famous Idaho Regatta. Right now, we're going to send this back over to Wheels, and we'll be back with more in just a few moments.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, yes, sirree, Bob, on a beautiful, beautiful Monday, June 24th, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, now it's time to get on the phone line and zip over to Vicky's Country Gardens at 185 South 600 West of Paul for our program segment called Green Thumbs, Dirty Knees, and Vicky's Country Gardens. And enter stage right. Here is the lovely Miss Vicky.
Good morning, Zip. How are you doing today?
Well, I am good. You know, knowing you like I do over the many, many years, we're looking at forecast temperatures of being into the 80s and 90s, and it's great weather coming up to where, looking at the 4th of July, a person could have an adult beverage and just sit back and watch the crops grow.
Yes, they will definitely enjoy this weather. We had another bout with a cold snap again, which kind of set things back, but looks like now we're headed onward and upward with any luck at all. Hope we don't go back into having that cold weather come back and hit us again. But the 80s are going to that's a good place to be for right now, to get these crops growing and not stress them too much with the high temperatures.
You know, one thing we overlook, and it was brought up to me by a listener a couple of days ago after the program last week, we don't talk enough about landscaping ideas and different things for the exterior of your home, and you've got a lot of items and a lot of great ideas for people, don't you?
Well, we do. We have still have a good selection of ornamental trees. Our hibiscus trees and that are getting ready to start to bloom. We've just got in a new shipment of real nice perennials that can really add some color to your yard and come back next year. You don't have to keep planting on the perennials. They come back every year, and they work in real nice. Got in a lot of grasses. So, I mean, we've got pretty much everything. If they're redoing their yard and getting ready for the 4th, we've got pretty much all the plants that they need, shrubs, trees. We've got the weed mat to put down to keep the weeds from growing, and then we've got the bark and the rock to finish the project off. So pretty much anything they need, and if you need ideas in in designing it. Bring me in a picture or something, and I can help you figure out what goes where.
Well, that's just what I was going to mention. What would you suggest is the best thing to do? Just take some different angles of like the front yard or the backyard or whatever that they want to have a restyling, if you will. Just bring them into you, and what happens then?
Well, yeah, they can just bring me in some pictures. A lot of times, if they're doing flower beds up around their home, right up close to the house, if they'll take a picture of it, that gives me an idea as to where there's window wells, where there's windows, doorways, things of that nature that we need to work around. And then I can make suggestions. I can see whether it's in a sun or a shade situation, and so we don't get the wrong plants in the wrong spots.
Okay. Are people as into outside landscaping and exterior of their homes like they used to be? My wife and I just love doing that kind of stuff. Is it as big a deal today as it used to be?
Oh, I think it still is. Yeah, everybody, pretty much everybody, always wants to change a little something every year. They add a new flower bed or enlarge one, or do just to kind of make things, add a patio and then decorate around that and things. But you got to realize also that if you're thinking about selling your home, a nice landscaping job adds value to the home. You definitely get your money back many times over if you have a real good, easy care landscaping that's done, freshly done to sell your home. It makes a big difference for people.
Oh, man. I'm into the waterfalls and all the fish ponds and everything. Oh, speaking of which, does Vicky's Gardens have floaters this year?
No, they took a bunch of those away from us now. A lot of the floaters had become noxious. They got into the canals, and so they've outlawed a bunch of that kind of stuff. So kind of hard to get those kind of things anymore. There's still pond lilies and that are available. I don't do them because the demand has gotten so slow and the minimums are so high to have to bring them in that I can't afford them right now. But they took a lot of those floaters, the water lettuces and that type of thing, away because of the fact that they became noxious and got into the canals and caused a lot of problems.
I see. I didn't know that. A lady wrote me a note and emailed it to me, and she said, Zeb, please have Vicky talk about what kind of choices we have. If we have a small garden within the city limits, the birds are eating everything.
Birds are a real problem. I mean, they are. A lot of people go down to the dollar store or whatever and buy the little wind twirlers like little kids carry. They're on little sticks, and you can put some of those kind of things out there, and sometimes that'll keep them away. And it kind of scares them away. There's kind of you can do scare tape and put it on sticks, and it flutters in the wind. Seeing as how we seem to have wind every day, I don't think you'll have trouble getting the little twirlers to twirl.
Right.
The wind will help us out a lot on that. But it is a real problem with birds because they take the seed out of the ground, and sometimes they take the plant right out of the ground at the same time. So basically it takes different kinds of movement and that type of thing to kind of scare them away.
Okay.
And keep moving it around so they don't get used to it being in one spot.
Okay. Now, another lady sent an email over, and she said, I'm new to the area. I've never had a garden before in my life. My husband and I were both raised in the inner city. We moved out here to Idaho to enjoy the great Idaho outdoors, and we don't know. We've planted a garden, but we don't know when to harvest or when to eat.
Well, it kind of depends on what they've planted, but if they planted peas early, they should have peas setting on here shortly, and basically it's just kind of keeping an eye on it, and you'll know when you'll pretty much see when they're ready. Radishes and stuff, if they planted those, you want to keep watching them. You don't want them to go to seed because then they're ruined, so you want to get them to about the size, start watching, and pull them when they're about the size that you see in the stores, that you buy in the stores and that type of thing. Potatoes, you're going to have, of course, those are a later one. In the fall, you have to let them bloom and take care of them that way. There's just, it's kind of you just kind of have to watch your garden, and you'll figure it out. I mean, it's, no matter what it is, you'll kind of figure out when it's getting ready and when it's getting ripe. But if they have any questions, they can come in. If they've got certain types of vegetables, come in and talk to us, and we can sure tell them what to look for.
What about red potatoes? Boy, do they finish up a little earlier to the point where we can have some peas and some cream sauce and those red potatoes?
Some of your red potatoes, there is a red potato called a dark red Norland that's a 75-day potato, so it is an earlier one. And so, yes, a lot of people plant those to go with the peas and potatoes. But you can also dig your potatoes when they're younger. You can dig down in beside and pull the little potatoes out, for the smaller ones and that type of thing. A lot of people kind of go down through and they'll eat part of them for the little young potatoes and then let the rest of them set and mature out for the large ones. But there are different varieties of red potatoes that are, like I said, the dark red Norland's a 75-day, the Pontiacs and the red Lesota are 110 days. So there is if you want those early ones, the dark reds would be the ones that you always want to plant.
Okay. Okay, we had another question come in, Vicki, and the lady wanted to know, how often can you spray for bugs without being detrimental to the crop itself?
You don't want to overspray, and kind of depending on what spray you're using, if you're using like an insecticidal soap or something of that nature, you can go out and do that pretty much like on an every other day basis. Your other ones, you're going to want to wait about a week to 10 days in between sprayings. You should be able to see that you're getting a pretty good kill on things. But you just have to be aware of the temperatures and when to spray, and read your labels, because it'll tell you when. Sometimes it'll say 2 weeks, sometimes it'll say 10 days.
Okay. Now, what about the Vicky's gardening tip of the week?
Okay, my tip of the week is, the temperatures are starting to rise. We're supposed to be hitting up into the 85 degree, 89 degrees. If you're spraying fungicides or insecticides, don't spray during the middle of the day. Do not spray during the heat of the day. You will damage your plants and you will burn them. Spray either early in the morning or late in the evening. I prefer late in the evening because then the temperatures are going down. If you're spraying herbicides, which is like Roundup, 2,4-D, and those type of things, again, do not spray during the heat of the day. If it's above 85 degrees, those sprays can volatilize, form a little cloud that you don't see, and they can move in on roses, on flower beds, on different things, and they can do a lot of damage. And you never want to spray herbicides in that when there's any kind of a breeze. So usually you're going to be early mornings or late in the evening to be safe on those also.
Wait a minute. Back the bus up for a second. You and I both promised on this show that we would always be real common folk, and now you're saying volatilize? You're leaving me in the dust.
Okay, they kind of form a mist. The heat hits them, and they kind of evaporate up into the air and form a cloud, like a fog.
Okay. Well,
and then as the wind moves them, they can move over and settle on rose bushes or on perennials or on flower beds or gardens or whatever, and they can either damage or kill whatever they land on because the chemical is still there. It's just in a fog form.
Okay. You ought to hang a sign outside on the front of the door that says, "Welcome to Volatilizing Vicky." Hey.
Yeah, we could do that.
Tell us real quick about some of the specials you got coming into the 4th of July weekend.
Well, right now we've got all of our annuals and that are all on 30% off. So we've still got a great selection of petunias, lots of color, and that type of thing to spruce up those pots or whatever. Roses are 25% off, and they're blooming nicely right now. And we still got, we did have vegetables and that get froze here a week or so ago, so we still have vegetables that you can pop into that garden and make it look good again.
Okay, now, I would imagine that you are really having to extend hours to the point to serve everybody, but what about leading up to the 4th of July? Are you going to be open that day, or what's the skivvy there?
No, on the 4th of July, we will be in the Rupert Parade.
Oh.
Again.
Okay.
Seems to be a yearly thing now, so we're working on a float, and we will be closed on that 4th, and we will be you'll have to come and see us at the parade.
Okay, but what about the hours excluding the parade?
Right now we're still at Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and we will be open one more Sunday. I think probably the 30th will be our last Sunday being open. But if there's something you're needing on a Sunday, I'm in here watering. We can work on some hours, and if I'm here and you need something, need bark or something, I can sure as heck load you and take care of it. It's not a problem.
What a wonderful lady, and I guarantee you I enjoy working with her every Monday right here on my program. The lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. And, of course, this is Green Thumbs, Dirty Knees, and Vicky's Country Gardens. God bless you, and I hope that we see you next Monday just before the 4th of July.
Oh, I'll be here with bells on, Zeb, no doubt.
Take care. God bless. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Bye. Love that lady. She's something special. Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. We got to get a weather forecast on here real quick, and then in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking to Lewis with the Idaho Regatta. Right now, the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. All the delicious meats for maybe your company picnic or your family reunion, or maybe you're going out on a picnic with your friends and neighbors, whatever. You better get a hold of them today. Call them at 324-7657. Delicious meat. You know, all the marinated pork ribs and the tri-tips and all the different bacons and the brats. Oh, what a delicious selection of brats they've got for you at Scarrows Meats. Great. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Sunshine and warming up as we get closer to the end of the month. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies for today. A slight breeze out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Possible gusts as high as 22. We are expecting a high of 77 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 49 tomorrow. Another nice one. Mostly sunny skies with a high of 83. Looks like more clouds will be moving into the valley for tomorrow night with a low of 52. Mostly sunny and 83 for Wednesday and for Thursday. Pretty much the same. Mostly sunny skies and a high of 79. About to look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. And brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats, located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Easy to find, easy to get to, or give them a call at 324-7657. At Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Excuse me for choking on the air. Hey, by the way, right now, right this very moment, we're going to go to the phone line, and I can imagine this man is busier than a one-armed paper hanger trying to get everything done and ready for the world-famous Idaho Regatta that's coming up this week, starting on Thursday over in Rupert with the show and shine. Good morning, Lewis. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. It's a wonderful day, and I'm glad to be talking to you.
Well, okay, tell us, here you are, right down to the gun. You're basically 3 days away from the start of the Idaho Regatta for 2019. Woo! I bet you've got a checklist, and you are busy.
Oh, yeah. We're going at it. I picked up my T-shirts this morning. We got 1,000 T-shirts to fold this evening. So.
Oh, my goodness. 1,000 T-shirts you got to fold this evening, huh?
Yep, we got to fold them up, put them in our trailer that we're going to be selling them out of at the event, and get our trailer stocked.
Oh, my goodness. Well, really, here we are, like I said, 3 days before it starts on Thursday with the show and shine. Give us kind of a thumbnail sketch of what your life is like every day getting ready for a world-class event like the Idaho Regatta.
Well, my day started off this morning with talking to vendors, making sure that they're all set to go and ready to go for the event. Like I said, I went and picked up T-shirts at 8:30 this morning. I've been running around passing out complimentary tickets to our sponsors that we pass out every year. I've got other details to take care of. I got a few things to patch up around town, talk to more vendors, and just get everything, make sure everything's on its final stages and ready to go.
Oh, my goodness. Now, tell us a little breakdown again so that people are aware of what's going on. Explain to everybody what's going to happen over on the Rupert Square this Thursday.
Okay, on the Rupert Square, what's going to happen is most of the boat racers, probably around 25 to 30, maybe 40 boats, will show up at the Rupert Square starting about 6 p.m., and they'll trickle in to about 7 p.m., and what we do is we do our racer registration over at Doc's Pizza upstairs, and it gives everybody a chance to come and meet the racers, talk to the racers, look at the boats, just hang out, have a really grand time, kind of in just a really nice, pretty setting with the new additions that they've made to the square.
Okay, now for everybody else that would like to really see the magnificent beauty of these high-speed boats, you're going to have a big boat parade on Friday. Tell us about that time and also the route.
Okay, the boat parade will start off by what we have is called what's a meet and greet. It starts at 9:30 a.m., and it'll be at the parking lot of where Kodiak America is located, just to the south of Stokes, okay? And then it'll go from there. At 10 o'clock, we'll leave from the parking lot there. We'll go south on Pomerelle Avenue to 16th Street. Then we'll turn right on 16th Street and go over to Overland Avenue. And then we'll turn on Overland Avenue and head back north to Main Street. And then we'll turn right on Main Street, and they'll go back across in front of on Main Street and head back to the golf course.
Okay. Now, I understand that on Friday, this really gets to be a busy day for you and everybody else because they're going to be having racer pre-registration and then also the testing at the race site. Tell us what goes on Friday.
Basically, on Friday, it starts off, we start off with the parade early in the morning. When they get back about 11 o'clock, we have a driver's meeting, and then the boat racers go back to their pits. After the driver's meeting, everything's all taken care of there. And then they have what's called open testing. Open testing consists of, you try to get 3 to 4 boats per class out on the water at the same time so that they can make laps around the track, test their engines, make sure everything's working great. It helps them get a tune-up on their engines so that they don't burn the engines down or they're not running too rich and they have problems with fuel issues and stuff like that. And then we're actually going to have one race that day, which is the Nostalgia Jet class is going to race a heat race, and then they will race a final race on that day along with the test.
Okay, then Saturday and Sunday, it is racing. And the last time you were on the program, you were telling me that some of these boats can attain speeds of 140 miles an hour. Is that right?
Yes, that's our blown alcohol K Racing runabout flat bottoms. They have supercharged blown engines in them, and they're capable of 140 miles an hour down the back straightaway with all of the conditions are working with them.
Oh, my goodness. Well, now, what does the day activity look like for racing on Saturday and Sunday? Explain that to everybody so they can get their tickets and not miss a thing.
Okay, well, starting on Saturday and Sunday, both days, gates open at 8 a.m., our driver's meeting will be about 9 a.m., and then we'll start racing probably around between 10:30, and it just goes class by class. You got 10 different classes this year. You have the K Racing runabouts, you have the unblown flats, you have the super stock boats, you have the Grand National boats, you have the Comp Jet boats, which is a jet boat class, not a flat bottom class, and then we're going to even have some junior hydros coming this year. We have 3 kids between the ages of 9 and 12 years old that race these little 15-horsepower hydroplanes.
Oh, my. That will be a lot of fun. And this is all down at the Burley Golf Course Marina. And if they want more information, they can go to idahoregatta.org, right?
Yes, or they can find us on our Facebook page.
Okay. Now tell us about tickets. Please give us the breakdown on tickets.
Tickets are $40 for a weekend pass, which includes Saturday and Sunday. Friday is a free admission day, which is our fan appreciation day. And then so you have the $40 weekend pass, and then you have the $20 single day passes.
All right. And what about veterans and seniors? I want you to hit that too.
Yes, on our veterans, we have a $10 ticket for all veterans and all
seniors. Well, actually, seniors have to be 62 years of age or older. And you have to present a valid ID at the gate to qualify for the senior ticket or the veterans ticket.
All right. Louis, I'll tell you what, I want to wish you the best of luck coming up this week. It looks like the weather's going to be great for the world-famous Idaho Regatta, June 27th through the 30th. Thank you for spending so much time explaining this to us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. God bless. Thank you. The world-famous Idaho Regatta this week right there at the Burley Golf Course Marina. Woo! It is going to be exciting. Can you imagine a boat on the water going over 140 miles an hour? No, I don't think so. It's going to be wild. We want to say also a big thank you and shout-out to our big sponsor of Zeb at the Ranch, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And they've got the newest and best pickup and SUV all-terrain tire. It's called the Open Range AT. Check that one out. Or for your passenger cars, the Reputation tire. Superior performance, quiet ride. Oh, yeah. Oh, you can go visit Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred and Tucumcari in New Mexico and drive home knowing that you're on the best of tires. Oh, my goodness. And they've got many of their tires on sale so you can save a lot of money. You check it out today at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries, and the best of people serving you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and of course Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. What have we got cooking for tomorrow? Well, I'll tell you one thing. We are not going to be at a loss for very interesting segments. The first hour from 8:06 to 9, we've got the open forum with a lot of different stories that I know you'll want to have a conversation about. Then at 9:06, Dan Kish with the Institute for Energy Research going to get on the program. We're going to be talking about gas and diesel prices. We're going to be talking about what he sees looming on the horizon. And then at 9:30, we've got the wonderful Debbie Critchfield going to be coming on the air talking about the state of education in the state of Idaho. Dr. History is going to be here at 10:06, and then we've got Jeremy Dice talking about the Supreme Court at 10:30. You got a full plate tomorrow of Zeb at the Ranch, where we always say at the end of the program, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06, and the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. Have a great day. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow morning.